Right, hello. Hopefully you can see and hear me. So I thought yesterday, because the stream when it sort of railed into laughing at Trump talking about injecting people with disinfectant, because it turned into such a shit show, then it'd be a good idea to do that again. So basically, for those of you that weren't on, obviously some people would be in the really anti-Trump people, saying Trump's always an idiot or whatever. Other people were, sort of being balanced, saying maybe what Trump said was taken out of context. And then you had the people who were massive Trump fanboys saying, I am a libtard, or something, because Trump never said those things, even though there's video of him saying them. So at the moment, I just find it's more with how horrible everything else is at the moment. At least the Trump stuff gave me a bit of a laugh recently, like a proper laugh. Like, it was hurting how much I was laughing the other night when people were just, talking about this on like news radio stuff and nobody could really believe it was going on. So hello to everybody. So it's sort of a politics stream. But yeah, this is the thing, Joey. Like I said, if I was American, I'd have voted for him in 2016. This is the thing. This is why I found it really sort of funny in a depressing sense when there was that guy going, "You stupid libtard, you hate America, you hate Trump." It's just no. I was laughing at the stupidity of what he said the other day. Yeah, I'll beam pretty much. Right, Alex? Yeah, it's just the merch hoodie, but it's one where I remember to put on now and again for the streams. Yeah, as Haas Crazy Old Christian Red thinks, that's the thing. I think he was a better choice than Hillary, and I don't know if he'll be a better choice than Joe Biden, because I don't really know enough about Joe Biden. So yeah, for the people who didn't know about this, Trump keeps doing these like news conferences, or he's not doing them anymore, is he? Where originally they probably started off with an actual purpose, and it was talking about, like the White House response to coronavirus. Trump kind of used them as an excuse for rallies, and then they kind of got more and more deranged, where he just ramble about stuff. And then there was one where he was rambling, saying maybe the scientists should look into injecting people with light or disinfectant into their lungs because it's really good at cleaning surfaces. Yeah, Joe Biden does look like he's got dementia or something, Radon. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. I think Trump's probably listened to his advisors now, and maybe he's just realised that it's best if he shuts up for this stuff, rather than kind of just giving people more ammunition to pick him apart. But yeah, but yeah, it was just very amusing, at least when I woke up the other day. People were on about Trump's disinfectant comments, and like I was like, no, not even Trump would have said this. And then I watched the actual unedited video, and I was like, oh, what has he done? Yeah, that's the thing, Army Collector. As I said, I'd have still voted for Trump if I was American in 2016, definitely over Hillary. But yeah, it's just recently, it's the idea that you can't even laugh at what Trump was saying, like, no, you have to take him 100% seriously 100% of the time. Young Rail Enthusiast says Biden has been accused of sexual assault, but because he is on the Liberal organization, wouldn't surprise me. I'll be careful. I don't want to slander people off on here, obviously, without them being able to say the thing. What do you think his latest thing's going to be? I mean, I know Trump's now said like, oh, because you misreported me, I'm not going to be doing these news conferences because the lamestream media won't give me a fair thing. I actually quite like George Bush, Joshua. I mean, obviously, I was quite young when George Bush was president, but it seemed George Bush almost got on with everybody. I mean, yeah, I know Iraq war and war in Afghanistan and that, but George Bush seemed quite likable to some degree. Just because he got on with Putin, didn't he? He got on with a lot of world leaders, which is good for America if they get on with other countries rather than, No, I'm not getting the GP5 down. I think you can see it in the back. Just watch my videos on it. There's plenty of videos on my channel about GP5s. Yeah, that's the thing, GS Electric. I think that's part of what makes it so priceless, is just the doctors kind of going, oh no. Oh, George Bush Jr. Yes, sorry, Gregory, because there's George Bush Sr., wasn't it? Did he die recently, George Bush Sr.? But yeah, I'm thinking of W. Bush, you know. That's a good point, Stephen. But wouldn't another of person have done the same thing? Because that was pretty much thing across a lot of the Western world, surrendering of freedoms to fight terrorism. Yeah, well, the thing is, it's not like it's even a political smear, is it, against anybody? It's just the idea of the. Even if he was just thinking out loud, right? Like, you know, when people who are properly defending him, not the ones saying like, "Oh, you're a retard if you don't like Trump," you know, not them people, but just, even if he was thinking out loud, surely he should have stopped himself when he started thinking about injecting like cleaning solutions into people's lungs. Yeah, I'd agree with you there, Justin. A lot of it is marketing, isn't it? And seeing how many people you can get to believe you on something you'll probably never do. Yeah, yeah. Hope. Yeah, I didn't want you to miss it, Mike, because it was. What story is a lie, Mister Everything? If you're on about Trump, no, it wasn't, because you can watch the video of him saying it. I was quite tempted to get a bottle of bleach from the toilet and hold it up for the webcam, but I didn't want YouTube thinking I was encouraging like the kids on you watch the videos. But yeah, for those of you that don't know this, basically what he said originally, he said it. He was like thinking out loud. Then the White House was saying, no, he was making a very sensible suggestion, but the media was spinning it as fake news. And then Trump was like, no, I was being sarcastic, and it was because I was testing if you fake news media would report it or some bullshit like that. He said, you know, what he should have done. He's like, oh, I was thinking out loud. I said something dumb. My bad. But now he's not even doing press conferences anymore, is he? Because I was probably a similar age to me, Joshua. I was a bit younger than that, but I was near the back end of primary school. I can't remember. Shit, actually, no, I might have been even younger than that, actually, because it's 2001, wasn't it? Oh, this is a long time ago. Lysol said, according to GS Electric, as a global leader in health and hygiene products, we must be clear that under no circumstances should our disinfectant products be administered into the human body. Yeah, this is the thing, Lorenzo. You'd hope adults would know better than not to drink bleach, wouldn't you, and things like that, or inject bleach. But at the same time, it is very irresponsible when the president of the United States basically just starts going on air about maybe it would be a good idea. That's one of the things I kind of like about him, Toad, is the fact he's not very conventional as a politician. You know, that he'll say offensive things and things like that. I'm not one of those people that go, oh my God, Trump said this, how could he have done that? But yeah, it was just yesterday, well, 2 days ago, whenever it was just one of those things I could not believe I'd heard it, you know. I had to watch that video several times. I was like, wait, what? Very powerful light. Whatever the other thing is. Because again, yeah, there is like UV-based therapies for certain things. And yes, you can use sanitizers to clean surfaces, but they're not a good idea to put inside the human body. He uses Twitter as well, doesn't he, Paula? I mean, sometimes I get a good bit of amusement reading his tweets. Oh, what, the supreme vegetable radon, whatever he's called, the deer vegetable of the people. All right, Majid, we'll get rid of you for being a fucking racist cunt. There you go. Because yeah, while we can laugh at Trump, apparently, let's use it as an excuse to hate the Jews. Thank you. Bye. Class 2 instructor said, tremendously powerful light inside the body, only so many holes. Now, hello Danish Prepper. Here's a thing, 11HHH30. Do you think Trump actually writes all his tweets, or do you think he has like somebody else do it for him? Because I can never tell sometimes with Trump if he's just tweeting whatever he thinks, like, you know, on a short-term thing, or if his more professional tweets are done by somebody else. Yep. Hype just made a very good point. He said, be careful of UV irradiation as long-term chronic exposure increases the risks of melanoma substantially. That's skin cancer, isn't it? Melanoma. But yeah, the point is of UV, it can be useful, but be very careful how you use it because it is ionizing, just as it's a bit like beta radiation, really, UV. You don't want it on your skin or whatever for too long because it can do bad things. Who's that, Briggs? I'll read out a lot of these in Trump voices. I think they have an amazing lab and they're doing amazing work. Just amazing. Does Trump to you ever sound like a robot when he talks? Because I've noticed this recently and I can't unhear it now. It might be the way he kind of phrases things, but it kind of sounds like a text-to-speech thing. I'm not actually suggesting he's a robot. I'm just saying that sometimes when I hear Trump speaking, it kind of sounds like if you had a text-to-speech program, like when there's that Jordan Peterson deep fake thing that, did the fake Jordan Peterson stuff. Braydon says his voice is very similar to text-to-speech, yeah. One of the things I do like from this, which is quite funny, is whenever I've been listening to something and somebody does a fuck-up now, when they apologise, they go, well, at least I didn't say to drink bleach, which is quite funny. I've seen some of them tactical. I know he did the one where there was that thing, was it in Hong Kong or somewhere in China, where they accidentally put UVC bulbs in where it was meant to be like UVA? Yeah, it must be very bad for his handlers, Alex. And I don't mean handlers like as in I'm being really offensive. I just mean I know a lot of politicians have like PR people around them all the time. I'm sure if Trump insists on doing something when the people know it's going to go badly, it must be awful for them. They must be really going, oh no, make him shut up. I don't know, Hype. I'm going to have to look into that because I want to play about with that. Oh, I wouldn't agree with you there, the Ice Dragon. This is the thing. This is why it was quite annoying yesterday when you had like the really, really magapedes or whatever you'd call them, going like, oh, you're a stupid libtard because you must hate Trump and freedom and democracy. It's like, no, I just thought it was stupid that you said about, injecting powerful cleaning solutions into the lungs. Again, I've not heard about this non-important creature. Can you explain it a bit? Because somebody else said about it earlier, it might have been you, and then they didn't expand on it. I'll read that, Radon. I'll just be careful, though, because I don't want it to sound like I'm endorsing any of this. I, Donald J. Trump, recommend on behalf of all Americans. Sorry, just a second. Enjoying a cool, refreshing drink of Clorox. We have the best bleach, the best in the world. 1993, weirdly, Joshua. Maybe you could guess by my username. So yeah, I think I must have been 7 or so when 9/11 happened. I can't remember. Oh, Connor said it was like a Hong Kong nightclub because lots of the guests complained about being burnt and eye damage because the guests went back and took pictures of bulbs. I knew it was like some sort of fashion convention or something, but yeah, it was because they used UVC, not UVA, wasn't it? That was the problem. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, the crazy egg. No leader should be immune to criticism, exactly. It's no good saying we can criticize everybody except the politicians I like. Oh, that's good, Hype. So maybe my ulcerative colitis will stop me getting cancer from various radiation things. Maybe that's the upside of a shit cake. Well, it wouldn't be very good non-important creature if Trump criticizes China all the time, but then gets all his stuff made in China, because then that's very hypocritical, isn't it? But depends how libertarian you are, Schwubble Wubble. But I'm sure somebody quite ANCAP should, would approve like Davy Crockett's being able to be shot from their windows. All right, they say. I think you made a good point there. He says you need more objectives, i.e., the best beautiful bleach, Oh, it's beautiful. Disinfectants, more than ever before. The most powerful disinfectants, the greatest disinfectants. I would know because I've got a very good you know what. Thank you, Old Bean UK. He said, please Trump voice this. You know, I met with the Supreme Vegetable, and he's a really great guy. I'd share a veggie burger with him. Great guy. There you go. I mean, maybe he does put people in concentration camps and starve his country, you know, but he's a great guy, really. Gonna do great things. Yeah, there's a lot of problems. That's the thing, Lies Dragon. I definitely don't think you should blame everything going wrong with America on Trump. I certainly don't, because the main thing I find weird is all the people that think if Hillary got elected, all of America's problems would have gone away. And Trump somehow caused everything. It's like no, I just find Trump funny. That's all. Yeah, isn't his sister meant to be really evil, Stephen? Apparently. I mean, I don't know much about the North Korean dynasty other than Kim Jong Il and Kim Il Sung and all that. But yeah. Who are you talking to, Survive? Why would I hate Boris and love the EU? Are we not allowed to have a laugh at Trump? Does it hurt your feelings? Because is Trump infallible and everything people criticise about him is completely made up? Ah, okay, Joshua. So what, you born in 1988 or something? Have you heard the quote, Dusty, where Joe Biden was asked about this and he was trying to say about the 1918 flu pandemic, and then he was basically started talking about like the flu of 1770 or something? He looked really lost. Yeah, it depends, Toad, what they are, but might as well ask it. Yeah, I would agree with you there, Ice Dragon, because here's the thing. If people voted for Biden, he's like properly senile, isn't he? Like I said, I feel quite sorry for Biden, because when I've seen a lot of clips of Biden, he just looks lost, So you've got Trump who says dumb shit, but, was quite good for the economy prior to coronavirus crashing everything. Stabbing Joe Scarborough said, could he have meant ingestible disinfectants like hydrogen peroxide, also Kim Trainer's touring career? I think they're saying that they're doing that to kind of what was it? Make it look like everything's okay. I think this is probably very much a death of Stalin situation. Right, I'm going to get rid of Survive because he's been making some stupid comments for a while. But again, if you're going to blame open borders or refugees or something for coronavirus, that's clearly not the fucking case, is it? Again, it's like what I don't get is when people try and spin something for their own political narrative when it just does not fit into it. Why did coronavirus come about? Probably because of Chinese wet markets, like stupid fucking food hygiene. Lots of countries should have done more early on, been more critical of China, not listen to the WHO. But, to say, this happened because of 5G or this happened because of some border policy or whatever. Yeah, because this is the thing with me, right? I'm kind of just quite cynical about a lot of politics. Like, to me, when somebody's making a far left or far right point, and they both sound stupid to me, I think you should just be more balanced about everything, because it always seems a shame to me when people find a scapegoat to blame that for whatever's going on. Oh, Michael, can you give some examples of that? Because I'd be quite interested in hearing it, but it's more just I get quite kind of pissed off when somebody starts accusing you of being like, a lefty because you criticize one thing about Trump. Clearly, that means you don't have much critical thinking skills if you think you have to be in one political camp or the other. When it comes to elections in the UK, I vote for the politician I think will do the party that will do the least damage. This is why often we don't have political streams on here, because people just get so like shit flingy. Old Beam says, I follow the creed of Obi-Wan. Oh no, I'm not brave enough for politics. I can't do an Obi-Wan voice. But what was the other thing? Sorry. Oh, for the person stabbing Joe Scarborough who was on about hydrogen peroxide, Hype would be better to answer you there, and I think he has done. I've got some hydrogen peroxide. I normally just put this in my ears when I want to clean earwax out. It sounds a bit disgusting, but it works well for that. You can get different concentrations of it, but yeah, I mean, well, the CCP radon is being very, very obfuscating about this whole thing. So, but at the same time, it's like I don't like when you get people on here randomly blaming all Chinese people for this. It's like, if there's shitty food standard hygienes and the government there should have fixed it and didn't, that's not the fault of every Chinese person ever. Because a lot of this, I think, gets used to kind of, be the thinly veiled racism of, I don't like this country, so now they're to blame. You can rinse your mouth with it, Stab J Sky, right? I mean, again, with hydrogen peroxide, be careful of percentages, because I know the stronger it is, the more potentially it could damage stuff. But yeah, you can use it to, like, as an antibacterial mouth rinse. Okay, Hype said H2O2 is non-toxic doses have minimum bactericidal or virucidal effects. Drinking it will kill you before it kills coronavirus. There you go. It's like a lot of the other things that the amount needed to kill corona kills you first. The same reason like why ionizing radiation is not a good idea to get rid of coronavirus. That's good, Comrade Lenin. The thing is, like, it's quite useful for some things. Like I said, I've got really shitty narrow ear canals. Hello, Vladimir Putin. Yeah, my favorite topic, talking about the discarded tea bag again. I mean, I don't know why Vladimir Putin's giving me money in Australian dollars, but thank you, Putin. I will happily shill for you if you give me more money. But, like I said, that's the main thing I was just going to go back to saying about what I find disappointing with politics is, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older and more cynical. It's the idea of lots of politics being blame a certain group of people or like other whatever, for a problem. Not how are we going to fix a problem. It's let's blame somebody else for it. Good cats, no adverts. I don't know if it is excellent Russian accent. It is just generic Eastern European accent I do when I am saying, let us read what the Demeter say. But, right, Toad. The problem is with the virus, it's a balancing act, and there's no easy way out of it. Because if you lock down too much, while it's good for stopping the virus, it causes massive damage to the economy and all sorts of other things. If you don't do anything with the virus, the health system again becomes overloaded. Lots of people will die who wouldn't even die anyway of the virus due to, like lack of health infrastructure and just collapsing infrastructure. So the problem is, of course, I don't think there's an easy way out of this. I think the best attitude is things like what Taiwan has done, South Korea, where you make people wear masks in public, you try and carry on as much as normal. You maybe use apps or something to track where people have been to contact trace who have had the virus. But yeah, the problem is if you lock down too seriously, that's a problem. If you simply don't lock down or do anything, then that's also a problem. There's not an easy way out of this, really. I've not even looked into it. Let me look into it, Stephen. I know about the old Tempest, like the one like the Hawker Typhoon, the Hawker Tempest, but let's have a look. Britain Tempest, I want to know about this. Oh, that's interesting. The BAE Systems Tempest is a proposed fighter aircraft concept. Oh, so it looks a bit like an F-35 or an F-22. But yeah, it's kind of cool BAE is still doing stuff. That's British Aerospace, for those that you don't know. As much as it might sound like horrible, military-industrial complex shilling or whatever, I do like the idea that Britain still does make, weapons of war. Have you, Student? I've rewatched it. Well, I've watched Chernobyl 3 times now in total. Well, I've watched a couple of the episodes more times, but I've watched the series 3 times in total. It's an excellent series, isn't it? Hype says the important thing for reopening prior to vaccines becoming available is to establish rules to minimize spreading an infrastructure to track and prevent infected individuals from infecting others. Yeah, exactly. I know you know a lot more about biology than me, but again, I think a lot of it is just trying to minimize the spread as much as possible while causing the least economic damage possible. And Putin says, it's because I live in Austria and I'm not actually Australian. Sorry, you live in Australia, not Austria. And I'm not actually Australian, so I ordered the PMG gas mask today. I'm so happy to get it. That's cool. Hope you get it and it's all in good condition. That I've got a PMG behind me somewhere. I've got a few PMGs, actually. Wow, probably just 2 PMGs. But yeah, this is the one that's got a bit of a suntan, as you can see from the front. But the PMG is a cool design. Obviously, Metro Cop mask from Half-Life 2. So it's got that going for it. Upper Hayford isn't very far away from me, Christian Redneck. Yeah, that's not all that far away from me at all. Sadly, a lot of that base is closed down now and abandoned, but obviously if you get caught trying to urbex in there, you get in quite a lot of trouble because it's like an ex-military site. It's not just, like an abandoned sort of factory building or whatever. Yeah, you were saying about that, weren't you, Hype? Like the color-coded one. But yeah, again, I think a lot of countries are going to have to do something like that. Because, again, the problem we're having in the UK is they've locked a lot of stuff down, but they have no real plan on how they're going to reopen it. And that's what they really seriously need to think about, is how they're going to stage, easing stuff, maybe tightening stuff as needed. Because it's no good saying, well, we now just don't know when we can open stuff or let people see each other again. Yeah, sadly, Alex, more people are breaking lockdown now, apparently, because, yeah. I mean, Renzo, North Korea's not got many allies, so if Communist China wanted to take over, I don't think there'd be many people to stop them. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Toad. I think that's a lot of the problem with politics is people that put themselves into a left-right camp or whatever else, rather than saying, what policies do I actually think are good or not? So, it always becomes, how dare you insult, my ideas, all the other ideas are stupid. No, as much as somebody will say, have you got splinters in your ass from sitting on the fence? I think with a lot of politics, it's generally just picking the best ideas that different people come up with, not going for an either or extreme approach, Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't try it because you don't want to get a yellow thing, do you, for no reason? But oh, you report a pic for something. Oh, sorry, I thought you meant that if you were thinking about going outside without a mask on. But yeah, it's good if there is a report. So you don't want it to become too Stasi-like, do you? But I think if there are people just violating quarantine, putting other people in danger because who won't get me, that sort of attitude. That's bad for everybody. I certainly agree with you. No prohibition, Lice Dragon. If people want to take alcohol, whatever drugs, they should be free to do it as long as they don't harm other people. Because, I never understand the morality argument of how dare somebody take some sort of substance, but then, they're okay with other substances. I can understand some of those kind of really Puritan type ideas with drugs, more if people were totally against, like, coffee, alcohol, pretty much everything. I could kind of understand Puritanism like that. Not that I'd agree with it at all. But what I don't understand is when some people get funny about certain things, but they're totally okay with like alcohol and tobacco and whatever else. It's like, okay, so it's because you like those particular drugs, they're okay, but not the ones you don't take. Oxford sort of area, Joshua. Sorry, what was that, Peach? I must have missed something there. Is that one of your relatives or something? I hope he's doing all right. Sorry, Peach, I must have definitely missed a message there. But if you've got an ill relative, I hope he's doing okay and getting the best possible treatment. Yeah, I've got a problem at the moment. Like I said, I've not talked about it too much on the streams because you end up getting the trolls trying to like make you feel miserable with it. But one of my relatives is quite ill at the moment. But obviously, them going into hospital and getting hospital care is quite risky in of itself because they're in a vulnerable group if they get coronavirus. So it's like a lose-lose situation. But you have to just pick what you think's best for them. Oh, that was the first message, was it, Peach? Oh shit! Oh, I hope. Yeah, I hope it's a precaution on that, and he's all right. But yeah, sorry to hear that, Peach. Favorite Finnish gas mask? Probably like the M65, M71. The one like with the panoramic lens and the thing. I like the M61 a lot. It's best they check him. That's the thing. Like they've been saying at the moment, isn't it? If people have proper health concerns, they still need to see the doctor or go to hospital. Because part of the problem they think that's going on now is lots of people are avoiding the doctors or hospital with potentially quite serious conditions because they're worried about coronavirus or worrying there being a burden on the system, and then lots of preventable things are getting worse. I'm probably more libertarian than conservative, I'd say, Schwabble. It's just recently with a lot of the corona stuff, I've been getting a little bit more authoritarian just because of idiots deciding rules shouldn't apply to them when they're for the good of everybody. But for the most part, I'm quite libertarian, as in I think people should be allowed private ownership of a lot of things, And if people are doing stuff that doesn't hurt anybody else, what is it anybody else's business kind of thing? But, like I said, I'm not full libertarian, just as I wouldn't be full conservative, full socialist. I like little bits of kind of various ideologies, but I think generally when you go full retard on an ideology, it is literally full retard. Like I should have a mini nuke because, non-aggression principle, or, All right, see you, Peach. Hope you're all right. Oh no, have we got the crazy Christian cultists coming back on again who are saying I was a Satanist? Elias says, how's the lockdown affecting you personally? Right, the weirdest thing for me is obviously I can't either go to work or do the charity volunteering I'd normally do. My work is closed by the government because they closed quite a few different businesses to prevent spread. So I wanted to do more charity volunteering. The problem is at the moment, volunteers are told not to come in to, minimize infection risk. So only some paid staff are allowed in, not charity volunteers. So at the moment, I'm sat at home 24/7, other than going out for a bit of exercise or essential shopping, going to pick up my prescriptions roughly every week from the pharmacy for my needed, chronic illness medications. So for me, it's just very, very bizarre. And I'm starting to go I'm getting more frustratedly bored kind of thing rather than anything else, just because, you can't see your friends. Some of my friends aren't coping very well with it, so you try and be there for them, but then you worry about them a bit. My mum, who I normally live with, isn't in the house now because she's gone to live with my grandparents to look after them, because if she kept going to their house and coming back here, there's more of an infection risk for them, and obviously them being elderly, if they got it, it could be a death sentence. So, it's more weird than anything, in all honesty. Like I said, I'm definitely, I think, coping a bit better than a lot of people are coping with it, because some people I think who are very social are really struggling. But yeah, it's, Massimo says Italy will reopen as many activities as possible 4th of May with strict policies. The details will be announced, I think, tomorrow. Okay. So most things are going to reopen. Is it just going to be very strict with mask wearing and standing certain distances from people? Weirdly, David, I have an Oculus Rift, and I'm not lying. I have an Oculus Rift, but weirdly, I have not plugged it into the new computer at all since I got it last year, which is weird. I really ought to do it and set it up again. But the thing is with VR, VR is great fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not a replacement for normal games. So if you get a VR headset, and they are getting cheaper and cheaper, which is good. Class 2 instructors, there are a lot of pilots in China that have recovered but not very shedding the virus. They're scared they are going to lose their medical. I know this because I trained Chinese airline pilots for 5 years. Well, that's interesting. So they're worried that their health insurance might get worse because they've had corona but they've recovered. Hype said he sold his Russian Gen 3 PN21K and using the money to get a Mum 14 housing and high resolution Ecran Gen 2, so getting a better Gen 2 night vision. Gen 3 simply just doesn't offer that much over Gen 2, and selling price of Gen 3 here is just too good. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense if you can get loads of money for selling a Gen 3 and then use it to get a much better Gen 2, where maybe, there's a couple of drawbacks, but, otherwise it's better I just do that, yeah. All right, I'm afraid I don't understand all that Class 2 instructor, but what, does that stop them flying or what? What Mike's saying now, I've been drinking a lot more than I normally do. 'Cause weirdly, I have periods sometimes where for months I won't touch alcohol, and it's not like abstaining from alcohol, it's just I don't feel like drinking. But at the moment, I'll just have days where I'm sat at home, I'm bored shitless. You can't do anything. I'm not even allowed to take my car out and drive. So it's not like, I can't drink because I think, oh, I need to drive later. So I think, oh, I might as well have some wine now. Why not? I might as well have a beer, Um, and I'm not encouraging that. It is not good if people get to the stage where they're drinking more and more and start drinking dangerous amounts. But it's not unique to me. A lot of people are doing it. Apparently, our alcohol sales, I know pubs and that are closed, so you have to think what they would contribute to it. But I think alcohol sales are up like 30% in supermarkets. Because a lot of people are just buying a lot of alcohol just to drink themselves, out of boredom. Yeah, I am being careful, Alex. I do know about units and all that sort of stuff, and I'm keeping myself hydrated as I'm drinking. I prefer dogs, but I don't mind dogs or cats. I like both, but I think I like dogs just because they're quite good companions, where sometimes cats are like, yeah, fuck off, give me food and I'm going to go sleep. I don't actually know, Penetrator, about that. I mean, you can look at all the Gov UK laws on it, Toad, but I don't know what you really want me to say on it. I mean, from a collector's point of view, it can get really frustrating when certain things just get outright banned because politicians doing it. But also, I can understand, why a lot of people are very anti-knife because young people get stabbed to death. But lots of them are stabbed to death with kitchen knives, not collectible, stylized knives. So I think it was top 10 scariest, wasn't it, Zachary? What sort of vocabulary, what interesting words have I said this stream? But I'm glad if you enjoy the videos. I like Willie Stroke and Mike out of all those weird names. Well, at the moment, Sir Knight, not really anything because I'm furloughed. But generally at weekends I do a cleaning job. Thursday I do charity volunteering, and most of the week I do YouTube videos. But at the moment I'm just stuck in non-stop because lockdown rules, and being furloughed from work and everything else. Yeah, I know that's the case with Sylvia cats. I know sometimes you get cats that are really friendly and attentive, but yeah, I do know people who've got cats and they often have cats that are basically, they only ever come to see you if they want to be fed or let out or whatever. And then most of the time they sleep and, do not like interaction with people. Cheers, White Wolf. Oh yeah, it's a weird feeling, but I bet when I get to 100k, because of all the coronavirus stuff, it'll be yonks before it comes. What am I at now? Is it 85,000 subs yet? Let's have a look when it loads. Oh yeah, 85,026 subscribers. Yeah, that's good. I mean, the massive burst I had was around January when I first did a couple of Corona videos, and then everybody watched them, and YouTube recommended them. But your use of expletives, what tactical F-bombs, Zachary, is it that it? Yeah, I do understand that good cats no adverts, but I mean, it can vary personality-wise from animals, but yeah, now that's the thing. It's gone up about 20,000 subs, hasn't it, in about 3 months, White Wolf, or 2 months due to about 3 months due to all the Corona stuff, and then all of a suddenly like people wanting to know more about masks. I think Ben blogs and gaming, in some ways, people are going to be quite eager to get back to work because as much as lots of people complain about work, I think when you're off of work for too long and realise that, because the thing is, I find I enjoy my spare time more if I've got a week where I know I'm doing certain things on certain days. So I'm working at the weekend, so then I think I've got to make use of my spare time, on other days. Or, like I need to get up Thursday morning to drive to volunteer at the Blue Cross for, the morning to early afternoon sort of thing. So I find when I'm stuck at home 7 days a week, 24/7 pretty much, other than being able to go out to do a bit of exercise or essential shopping, you start finding you're wasting your time just because you don't know what to do with it. Yeah, they certainly, Jax, I'd agree with you there. They do help me a bit. If I wasn't doing YouTube, I'd be going completely crazy. It must be bad for people who have hobbies they just cannot do at the moment. I know some people don't even really have hobbies, but, people who might do some sort of outdoory type hobby, and they're just not allowed to do it under lockdown, so they're just stuck at home, with not much to do. I'm not really a prepper, in all honesty, in Telebrite films. I like collecting stuff because of the history behind it, or just evaluating it, and I just find CBRN type gear interesting. I mean, I'm sure I might be able to do better than some people, but in all honesty, because I'm chronically ill and that, shit hit the fan is not something I'd want to happen. And what is that locked? Is your trumpet locked in the school now? Schwabble wobble. Oh, I'd agree with you there. I'm struggling to know what day it is. Generally when I have an organised week, as much as I might not remember what the individual date is, like I'll know it's a Monday, I'll know it's a Wednesday kind of thing. I might have to look and see, what the day of the month actually is. But yeah, at the moment I'm like, wait, is today Monday? Wait, is it Sunday? Here's a question. When did the UK start the lockdown? I can't even remember that now. Was it 5 weeks ago? 6 weeks ago? I can't remember. I remember that I had a weekend booked off work before it happened as holiday, so I had the weekend off as holiday. And then the weekend I was going to be back at work, on the Friday, they closed pubs, restaurants, cafes, all that. And my manager told me, we can't go into work anymore. February, was it? Start of February, end of February? Was it at very end of February, like very beginning of March sort of time? Oh, wait, no, it started on March 23rd. So yeah, because it was a bit before the lockdown, wasn't it? So we've only been in lockdown for a month. It feels like ages. I should have a little thing, shouldn't I, where I just do that on the wall, like a tally, like a prisoner. Jack said, thanks for the gas mask videos. I've started collecting them over the last couple of months, and you said I've also collected them because of history and stuff like that. Thank you again. That's all right. I'm just glad you enjoy doing something. Massimo said, I don't remember when Italy started either. It's funny how perception of time passing changes very quickly. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? But yeah, like I've said, it just gets weirder. It's like, if you said to me last year, there's going to be a global pandemic and we're going to be banned from going to work and we're basically going to be locked down, and then, all this other weird shit that's happening. And then the president of the United States live on air is going to say maybe injecting bleach into people's lungs might be a good idea. I wouldn't have believed you. But we live in a crazy world, don't we? On people be burning down 5G masks because they spread coronavirus. Sounds like, being at least for your family, they've got hobbies that they can do in lockdown, or they're needed for work. So as long as they're safe, that's good, I think. Nah, they don't even know when they're doing it, Joshua. Supposedly tomorrow, because Boris will have his first day back after being ill. Boris is basically probably just going to say, yeah, we're carrying on with lockdown. But I think we'd all just like a rough time frame, or like an idea how we might come out of it. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel, rather than it being every couple of weeks just being told it's carrying on. Because, that means you can't plan for anything. He didn't actually directly say bleach in Telebrite films. What he said was cleaning solution into the lungs. And he was on about cleaning solution that's good at killing it on surfaces. So essentially bleaches and disinfectants. Like, people are paraphrasing when he said drink bleach, but yeah, he essentially did allude to that. And it was because he was thinking out loud, I will say that. But, it's very strange when you get the people saying, like, no, you're a libtard, he never said that. Fake news, fake news. Oh, thank you very much, Marty. He says, I've been trying to get glasses frames for my FM12, but I failed. eBay is a negative. Any ideas? Oh, and sincere thank you for your sharing knowledge. Right, there's one thing I can definitely suggest to you. If you've got an old pair of glasses you don't use anymore, get the glasses, take the arms off. So, it's just these bits and that bit. Get you said about an FM12. That's handy because I've got CT12 behind me. So what you could probably do is, if we just get the straps. Yeah, I reckon there would be probably quite an easy way, if you've got an old pair of glasses, of just somehow gluing them in or attaching them in if you take the arms off. So they just sit, in there like that. Oh, round the other way. But Like I said, because I've not really got any spare old glasses that are still in my prescription, I don't want to do it personally. If I did, I'd do a video on it. But yeah, if you can't get the proper insert, like optics kits, I would say, can you take the frames off of, glasses are not frames, but keep this bit of them, but just take the arms off? I'm short-sighted, as in, if I'm looking at stuff up close, I can see it with or without my glasses on. If I'm looking at text in a distance, it would just look blurry without my glasses. Oh, is that meant to be in a Trump voice, Briggs? I know a lot of fake news. I do. Trust me, no one knows more about fake news than me, and I know a lot of fake news. Thank you, Groove Clubhouse. He said, great eyeglasses sells glasses super cheap. So if you know your prescription, look for some frames that you think would not, would sit in a mask easily. Especially if you can get those kind of flexible frames that are less likely to break, then you could probably have just this bit of those, have the sort of flexible bit of them, and then attach them in. Yeah, that would be a very strange scenario, Hype. That's right, Marty. As I said, the proper ones would be ideal, but sadly, yeah, when I've looked, I've never really seen them turning up on eBay. And what makes things difficult with stuff like that is often the big gas mask manufacturers don't sell to individuals, they sell to companies. So it's very difficult. You can now and again get optic kits turn up on eBay, but I've never seen them for a reasonable price, or they've not been in my prescription, so I've never bothered. But yeah. So yeah, sorry I couldn't help you more, but yeah, I'd say you might have to look at DIYing them yourself, because it seems to be very rare optic kits actually turn up for. Most uncomfortable mask in my collection? That's a really good question. I don't actually know. I'm trying to think if there's any that just do not do up properly on my head or put loads of tension on my skull. Oh yeah, thank you, Intellibright Films. That's a very good point. He says also they make prescriptions in goggles. I'm sure that was meant to be goggles, not Googles. What, live action roleplay? I've never done that. I've done videos fucking about with like NBC gear on, but I don't do live action roleplay. There's some sparring videos on here as well, where a couple of mates and I would, sometimes just think it'd be funny to hit each other with like training swords or sticks, but I've never done like LARP type stuff. All right, Scott. Avon still makes the FM12 because it's listed on their website, but again, Avon doesn't sell to private individuals, sadly. Even if it would be expensive, like Avon seems to only do like contracts to like police, militaries, big companies that want to order a load of masks for like industrial use or whatever. That's a shame, Andrew. It doesn't surprise me though, because that's happening all over the place. Hopefully the UK is going to enforce a thing soon where if you're using public transport, you have to wear a mask just to, try and slow down the rate of infection. That's interesting, Hype. I know it's like a thing with airsoft, isn't it? Chris said the Swiss SM90s for users who need it have the prescription lenses glued in. Oh, that's good. They don't look out of place, and sometimes it's hard to tell if they have them or not, as it's shaped the same. Oh, that's very good to know. All right, Chris has just suggested something very good then for people about them. But I suppose you'd have to find a Swiss SM90 for sale, wouldn't you? But that's actually Recon. The reason they have to put caution hot on coffee cups is to not get sued, because wasn't that originally over some woman who spilled hot coffee from McDonald's on her lap or something from a drive-through, and then managed to sue them. So now everybody, to not get sued, has to put those over-the-top warnings on everything. yeah. There was the one where we were practicing knocking a knife out of somebody's hand with a bokken. Bart was holding a Fairbairn Sykes, which was probably a bad idea. I should have given him something with a sheath on. When I knocked out of his hand, the blade went with the weight of the bokken onto his hand and sliced his hand open. I had to, it wasn't bad enough to need stitches, but yeah, we had to put quite a lot of plasters on it. Maybe that's an autism thing, Schwabble, that I end up being really still. I don't know. Well, I guess you could say they got what they deserved, Ewan, or Owen, sorry, however your name's pronounced, but weirdly, I know people doing similar things to that I have noticed. But I'm not the sort of person that would grasp people up to the police for it, but, I think, again, if they end up getting it, it's their own fault. Oh, that's a shame, Richard. Some of my mates are properly into D&D, even the ones you'd consider like quite chatty, which is quite strange. But I've never even played Dungeons and Dragons personally. I have no idea, Jack. The thing is, Chris Whitty, one of the proper scientists, not one of the government spokespeople, said he thought it would be at least to the end of the year, some degree of lockdown or whatever, and then that the government officials are very quick to go, oh no. The thing is, I trust science advisors more than I trust the politicians. I think it's going to carry on as it is for a bit longer. Then I think they're going to slowly ease things off. Maybe mask wearing in public. Maybe certain places can open. More jobs can go back. Oh yeah, because ozone is very bad to inhale, isn't it, Massimo? I suppose it's a bit like alpha radiation into your lungs, is it, ozone? But yeah, it's a bit like radon gas. Probably not a good thing to inhale. Yeah, I would certainly start to struggle if it goes on that long. Because, yeah, the thing that really annoys me is just not being able to see mates or hang out with mates. You could probably social distance while airsofting, though, couldn't you? This is the thing with a lot of these things. I don't get a lot of the things why people have a problem with them in terms of, saying you should be able or shouldn't be able to do certain things. Because, yeah, a lot of things like airsofting, you're probably not going to be in very close proximity with people. I'll get round to it eventually, VS. Because, yeah, at some point I need to do levels of Corona tier protection, and then once everything's fully gone to shit, that will be SLR Traffic Warden Greatcoat. While I'm sure lots of chemical weapons are technically disinfectant, disinfectantable, or whatever you want to use the word for, but I don't think it's a very good idea to inhale them. Right, and Tell the Right Films. You might find tomorrow's video quite interesting, because it was on a few people requested. It was like Geiger counters and things at a different price point. What country are you in Telebrite, UK or US? Apologies if you've already said, I've just forgotten. Because as much as there's lots of old surplus Geigers I like, the issue with surplus Geigers and radiation detectors is quite often bits of them can break very easily. But yeah, what country are you in Telebrite? But yeah, what really disappointed me yesterday is, guess what stopped working? Oh, I've shown it, but this. And I think what's actually gone wrong isn't any electronics. I think the needle mechanism is broken because it turned out it was really fragile. Right, US. Okay, right. In US, as much as you might be able to get a CDV 700 cheap and stuff like that, and CDV 700s are great, but the problem is, parts can wear out on them. In the US, because the reason I've not got any is because they cost quite a lot on the import taxes and shipping. But I reckon in the US you could probably get some of the more modern, like Eberline or let me have a look for you on eBay.com right now, because again, they won't be good for me to buy, but they might be good for you. Right, what's the name of them? Ludlam, that's it, isn't it? Let's see if there's a Ludlam Geiger for a decent price. I'm trying to look for one that comes with a probe and everything for you, so it's ready to go as soon as you get it. A lot of them are like $300, which is a bit expensive for them because they are kind of glorified CDVs. Let me just check how much a CDV 700 is for you in the States. They're probably not too much in the States. And I'm looking for ones that are buy it nows rather than like auctions. Because if you get a CDV 700 and it's like from a seller that guarantees it will work, it's a good thing to start with. And then if it goes wrong and you're into electronics, you can work on repairing it. Right, this is one detector. It requires 5D batteries, which are not included. Oh, most CDVs are 2 to 4Ds, but this one needs 5Ds apparently. Do they work? This one. Right, I won't bother recommending this one because if the seller can't even be honest if they work or not a good sign. Right, the shipping on this one would be very expensive for me, but maybe where you are it won't be as bad. What about this one? This is a working one. Right, there you go. For $100, these are very nice, but they're very retro. So there you go. But I can probably find you something much better than that. But yeah, I'm trying to think what you might like. Because again, modern Geigers are definitely better than modern radiation detectors just because you don't have to worry about parts breaking or wearing out. And if you need to replace parts, they're normally very straightforward. It's just desoldering and resoldering the same like resistor or whatever on a circuit board. But I'm trying to think what ones might be available in the States. Oh, can you get the Radex detectors quite cheap in the States, can't you? Right, price, shipping and everything lowest first. Of course, I'm not buying it personally. I wish I could just one that would show. Why is it now I'm looking for them? I can't find any for you. Is it the Radex 1 it's called? Let me just search Radex Geiger. But yeah, the problem for me is obviously trying to find stuff where the shipping doesn't skew the price and make it look really expensive because obviously I'm in the UK. What about a GQ one? GQ GMC. I think they're made in the States, so. What sort of prices can I find these for in the States? A lot of them are coming from Canada for some reason. Right, weirdly, at the moment, these have all gone up in price. I don't know if this is due to the Chernobyl fires again, but these used to be a lot cheaper. Why is it when I want to recommend stuff to people, all the prices have suddenly just gone fucking weird? Right, I'd say that maybe if you can get a CDV 700 in a good condition, go for that. It's really nice and retro. Hopefully a part doesn't burn out in it. Are you all right, Gretchen? We were having a good laugh about Trump in yesterday's stream and earlier in this stream, which upset a few people. I'm sure because you're interested in medicine and that, you all know that potentially injecting cleaning solutions into the lungs is not a good way of combating coronavirus. Nearly every day at the moment, Jack, just because I've got nothing else to do, really, have I? So you're not shadow banned, Alex, unless YouTubers stop you donating. I don't know. I might do Chris maybe tomorrow. I don't know. It depends really on what I've got on. Yeah, apparently one of the things Gretchen somebody said is I am a libtard, lefty America hating whatever, because Trump never said that, even though he's filmed saying it. In theory, if you got a plague doctor mask that was airtight except the beak, and then you filled the beak with some sort of filtering material, goofy o'clock, it would in theory work to some degree. Can you not spam the chat, please, Big Swav? Hype says, if budget is tight, this Syntex DGB01S or the Bereg IRO1 or all the function durable Geiger counters that are sensitive enough to measure background. For fuck's sake, Hype, I forgot to recommend Bereg in today's video, and I was going to include it. I'll pin a comment saying, oh yeah, the Bereg is also good. The issue is, what is the price like of those to ship to the States? Because this is where everything skewers. The people in America can probably get CDVs at good prices, but they can't get a lot of the European, or Asian Geigers at decent prices. To a degree, I mean, you need impregnated charcoal, schwubble wobble, for it to work properly, but without the particle bit, you're probably going to be inhaling charcoal dust. Yeah, I don't know though. Does America have the reverse really expensive stuff? Like, because when I buy anything from America, the postage is stupidly expensive. Plus the thing. After the stream, I'm going to work and see if I can repair this. I'm hoping it's just the needle that's broken, and that might be an easy repair. But same for people in America. If you can get these cheap as surplus, these are good unless something burns out in them. But I'm really annoyed that one went because I really liked that Geiger. It's not a Geiger, ionization chamber. But yeah, annoyingly, when I took it apart yesterday, it was all working fine. Put the lid back on it, and how it's designed, the lid caught the needle. And when I put the lid down, it bent the needle slightly. It was still working, but it was in the wrong position. So I bent it back to the place it was, and I reckon something snapped inside. So I reckon it's a mechanical fault on that now. But let's have a look. These are called. Let me just type in Radiac, actually, because Radiacs are the US name, aren't they? For Oh, somebody in the US has a Radiac Mark II for sale, one of those, but sadly it's a Mark II, not the MD3. Otherwise, you could actually use it. Yeah, let's have a look at Radiac meter. Let's see if there's any for sensible prices in the US. But a lot of them are stupidly priced still, even then. Apologies. Steve says, can a USM40 mask internal drinking tube work for a Polish MP5 mask or the French Alpha mask? My mask didn't come with a drinking system. They're a different connector, whether or not you mean pulling bits of the straws off and attaching them to different masks. That can sometimes work if you just mean the physical straw part. But if you mean the connector, no, the US connector is a different shaped one. Ah, cool, so it's actually got gold in it, has it, Hype? Just a straw. In theory, I think that should be possible, because most masks on the inside, the straws are pretty similar. They are just literally like little rubber straws that you have to kind of squeeze over a little kind of plastic connector, or like metal little connector. Yeah, that's a shame, Class 2 instructor. Yeah, I think, Gretchen, this is probably why he's now saying he's not going to do it, because lamestream media is making stuff up about me. But I think it's more just he probably realizes he's going to do more damage if he just keeps talking about stuff he doesn't understand. Like, I don't understand a lot of this stuff, but I wouldn't think out loud that maybe injecting bleach into people's lungs is a good idea, because I think even children know that it's not a good idea to drink bleach, or inject bleach. I was taught that at a very young age. Maybe Trump wasn't taught that, I don't know. That's pretty cool, Class 2 instructor. If they make a homemade mask, it's better than nothing. Because a homemade mask is still going to lower the amount of particles that get through it. And if all the viral load theory is correct, which there's a lot of evidence it is correct, I believe it. But so personally, yeah, that's my thinking on it, really. is that I was going to get a screwdriver out the drawer and then I realised I've got them down the other room. But yeah, I'll definitely take that apart a bit later and see if I can fix it. Hype sending me a Chinese mask class 2 instructor, so when that arrives, I'll do a video on that. Let me look that one up, Neo, because I don't know the name of it without looking it up. Geiger 1 portable dosimeter. I mean, if it's a Geiger that's Myra. Oh, Myra do Geiger counters now. Oh, for fuck's sake. Is Chris still on? Chris, did you know that Myra did you know Myra reran Geiger counters as well? I didn't know that. When I googled it, it came up Myra. But Myra is apparently sticking their name on other people's Geiger counters now. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, it was bad enough when it was masks, but now apparently they're sticking their name on Geiger counters. Let me link it. I am not advising people buy this, but look at this. Look at that. Look at that. I'm trying to think what model that actually is they've just stuck their name on, because I'm sure they didn't build it. I've seen Soex do like one kind of shape like that, but I bet you it's probably a really cheap one they've got imported from China somewhere and then they've stuck their name on it. Oh, I found something really cool the other day, Hype. It might be. Let's look up the Soex 112. I know Soex do a Yes, you're right. It's a Soex 112 with an orange cap, not a blue cap. And Soex charge £89 for it. So Myra's making, what's the markup on that? Like a $70 markup or something, because it's got their name on it. But yeah, here you go. Let's thank you, Hype. You knew which model it was. Oh, the link's too long. Right. Let me see if I can get a shorter link up. Radiscan.com. Again, there's probably different sites where you can buy these, but let me try and find where's their thing that lets you look up all the different Geigers they have for sale. Oh, it's saying, do I want to send their staff a message? No, I don't. I just want to. Here we go. Ah, good. Right, this is a much shorter link. Here we go. There's a link I can fit in the chat. There you go. I hope Myra end up ripping off that check, like throwaway NBC suit bin bag thing, and then charge loads of money for it. It's just that, you're right, Hype. It's just that with an orange cap. Hello, Alex, and thank you very much. You said, cheers for keeping the daily streams up. I've never been here in time, but they are keeping me sane, looking handsome too, if you're not too weird saying. That's fine. I'm glad people enjoy them. You know, it's a very weird time, isn't it? But yeah. If you can get that for a decent price without Myra's name on it, it's fine. But this is what I've been saying to people with Myra. Don't pay extra because Myra have stuck their name on it. But yeah, anyway, Hype, what I was going to send you is something really, really cool I found out yesterday. Right, let me find out what it was called first, because I have a picture saved of it under its name. But it turns out EcoTest, I can just go on their website, can't I? EcoTest that do the therapy, do retrofitted DP5s, and they look really, really cool. Let's see if it's on their website. It might not actually be on their standard site because I think it's when they do more for the Ukrainian thing, but it's not the therapy, but it's like a green case and everything. It's a retrofitted DP5 and it looks really cool. Let me just put in EcoTest Geiger DP5 and see if I can find out what it's called. I saw one yesterday and I thought it was really, really cool, but I can't remember what the name is. I just found it after like ages of randomly Googling random Geiger counters. All right, never mind. I have to look up my picture I saved of it. And then I can tell you what it was called if I can find a picture. Right, let me sort by date, and then it should be the top result, shouldn't it? It's called an MKSU, okay? So it is an EcoTest MKSU. There we go. Right, let me link to a picture of it, if I can. Here we go. Look at this. It's this is really cool. Yeah, it looks like part of the case has been replaced, but it's in the old DP5 bag. Yeah, it's like a DP5 looking probe as well, but I thought that looked really cool. It's probably one of those things you're never going to see turn up on eBay, or very occasionally turn up on eBay, but I thought that's cool because it's just an old Soviet DP5 that's been retrofitted. And it actually looks like they've done a better job of retrofitting it than the Russians did with the... What's the other one called that's essentially a DP5 but isn't? We might do, Sean. It depends where the wind and everything's coming from. Well, I mean, a GP5 is a very generic old mask Santa, but if you wanted to get one, why not? Can you explain them, Shubble Wubble? I don't know much about red flag laws. IMD5, that might be it, because it uses the same ranges, doesn't it, basically? It looks better than the DP5, but it is essentially a modernized DP5, isn't it? Yeah, Chris, well, that doesn't surprise me, does it? Because I imagine Myra does the same thing. They buy them wholesale, pretend they make them, and then sell them at a price up. And then, of course, you'll get the Myra fanboys that will tell you, no, Myra makes really good masks. Don't insult them. Oh, cool. I'll definitely look at that in Telebright Films. Let me copy and paste your name. Gretchen, I was trying to allow that comment. He was saying about a film he'd made. Right, anyway, in Telebright Films, I'm going to Google you because I can't actually click on your channel and just simply load up the video, but I will watch that. So, Nuclear Vet full movie, is it that one? I'll make sure I watch that at some point. Let me bookmark your channel. Yeah, I've said before, but I don't know if you've ever been on when I've said it, but my dad's uncle was in the British Christmas Island nuclear test that we carried out off the coast of Australia, Christmas Island, and all his kids have had like horrible disabilities and deformities due to basically damage to his DNA through the radiation, like a lot of the other vets had, or damaged their own health, and then the government, of course, denied basically making people watch nuclear explosions could ever harm their health. But there you go. Let's have a look hype at that one. Oh, that looks really cool. That kind of reminds me a little bit of the American one I really like the look of. That's either the Radiac 110 or 110V, or the Civil Defense 718, is it they call it? But again, those kind of modern digital-looking Geigers are really cool that have got a good range. I mean, they probably use a lot of the same stuff, don't they, Chris? What was interesting, I was looking up some really old Polish Geigers yesterday because I wanted to see if Poland did an older Geiger than the DP66. And interestingly, I found out that Poland, actually, like communist Poland, produced a lot of the field, like military telephones and radios in the same things as the Geigers, which kind of doesn't surprise me, but it's kind of weird when you see the same shell and then one's got like a telephone assembly on it, the other's a Geiger counter. Well, surgical masks are good for helping prevent other people getting infection, but what was the thing I was looking at? I was looking at something quite interesting recently. I think it was to do with what was it? It was something to do with like old iron chambers of like communist countries or whatever. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what it was, hype. You'll find this interesting. The Soviet vehicle-mounted dosimeters and all that. What I didn't know is the DP3 isn't actually a Geiger wand on it. It's actually an ionization chamber on a wand, because the DP2 and DP3 was back when the Soviets made ion chambers, not Geigers, and then it was the DP5 series when they suddenly started using Geiger Muller tubes, not the just ionization chambers. Well, I mean, the mask itself is still going to reduce the chance you inhale something, so it's better than not having a mask. But yeah, obviously with goggles, glasses, something giving you a bit of eye protection from getting in through the eyes, it's. But again, I think it's all risk. If you're not really interacting with too many people, you're probably not too that much at risk. I think the more urban areas you're in, the more public transport you're using, the more you're going to be at risk, aren't you? Really. What I'm currently trying to find out is there's a really old Polish Geiger, well, potentially a Geiger. This is what I'm interested in. I'm wondering if it's the Polish version of a DP2. So I've sent some questions to some people that collect Polish military, and I've said to them, "Do any of you know? Although often they get sold as Geiger counters, like, do you actually know if it has a Geiger Muller tube inside, or is it actually an ion chamber?" Problem is when you ask some people that, they're like, "What's an ion chamber?" And you're like, "Oh, okay." Oh yeah, there was horrific radiation, wasn't there, after Bikini Baker when they did the underwater explosion with all like the contaminated seawater. Yeah, I'll definitely watch that. But yeah, they poor bastards, wasn't it, involved in all those tests? Like the Soviet ones, basically every country that did nuclear tests used humans as guinea pigs. You know, because they wanted to see what would happen to soldiers short and long term if they were exposed to horrible levels of radiation. Right, I can actually demonstrate to you with both a Geiger Muller tube and a ionization chamber. So an ion chamber, I've got one sitting down here from a CDV 715. I'll go off fairly soon. But this is an ionization chamber. They're an older design. The Rontgen unit was actually designed for the ion chamber, which I found out the other day. But an ion chamber basically measures the amount of air inside it that's ionized. So ion chambers are really, really simple in the sense that generally you have a positive wire going into them. Most of it is the negative, and it just has a high voltage running through it, but not too high voltage compared to Geigers. They're like 50 to 100 volts normally, I think, on ions. Some are even lower. And the point is that basically it just measures how almost electrical the air is inside it with the radioactive ionization. Ion chambers typically in Cold War instruments were used on the higher range ones like CDV 715, CDV 720s, Mark II Radiacs, the Canadian Radiacs, all those. Geiger Muller tubes are much better at detecting lower levels of radiation because they're used in a higher voltage circuit. They normally have an inert gas in them, and they basically have, what do they call them? The like avalanches, radioactive avalanches, or ionizing avalanches. But basically, there's pros and cons to each unit, but ionization chambers are older than Geiger counters. In general, they're used for higher levels of radiation, but they don't have to be. I've got a modern ion chamber on order that's actually got a digital readout that does micro Rontgens, which are even smaller than microsieverts. But yeah, the point is, you also get other things. You get like scintillation detectors, proportional counters, I think they're called. But the point is, they're made for different things. But an interesting thing is, in the West, we generally use Geiger counters for the very sensitive instruments during the Cold War. And the more high-range instruments were always ionization chambers. The Soviets and the Communist Chinese and everybody basically figured out that you could actually make Geiger Muller tubes very unresponsive, making them ideal for high radiation levels. So what you'll see with a lot of the communist sort of stuff is they actually ended up making Geiger counters that did both jobs, which is quite clever. So, for example, I'll show you the one behind me. The Chinese Type 75 actually uses a Geiger Muller tube inside it. However, this Geiger Muller tube, we'll do the circuit test button. There you go. But the Geiger Muller tube in this actually is more like an ionization chamber's range. Because if you look at the range this does, weirdly, it's the same as this ion chamber. Actually, the ion chamber starts quite low. That's why I really want to get this one repaired. But yeah, although I do kind of question that if ion chambers are easier to make than Geiger counters, and you don't need as much step-up circuitry and everything else because they run on lower voltages, why lots of nations made more Geiger counters and they're probably more expensive? Which one in Telebrite film, sorry? See your old bean if you're off, I'll be off in a minute, but... what do you mean their hype? Like, why they use them, or... are you saying they are EMP proof? I know a lot of old, those were really hardened old electronics on a lot of things, like the CDVs, so yeah, you'd struggle to, break them with, stuff like that, but that's the nice thing about a lot of the retro Geigers is they were really tough compared to some of the modern electronics. That's what I said, where the modern ones get fucked up by low levels of radiation too by them because there's not shielded electronics on them. But yeah, oh yeah, hype, yeah, you're right there. Sorry. Yeah, with a Geiger counter, like you said, it is easier if you want a sensitive one. So in theory, I suppose, yeah, it meant that they could just have the sensitive Geiger Muller tubes, and then they could make them just less sensitive, so therefore they could get both that did both. Well, where do you think I am ready to snap? I'm not outside, am I? But yeah, ionization chambers I do like. Anyway, because ionization chambers, the thing I like with ion chambers, obviously Geiger counters have to be dose equivalent. Which means that because Geiger counters count, you have to translate the counts to a dose based on what the radionuclide is. So the problem with Geiger counters is, say you calibrate one on cesium-137, if you're measuring just raw uranium ore or whatever, it will tell you it's a much scarier, higher dose than it actually is because they're quite low energy counts. Whereas if you were experiencing cobalt-60, it wouldn't be telling you as dangerous as it actually is because cobalt-60 is really ionizing. Whereas if you have an ion chamber, because it's physically measuring the ionization of the air, they're very, very good for different radionuclides giving you the equivalent dose. Ready to snap. You do know there's a thing called a lockdown at the moment, right? I'm not allowed to go to work. Most people aren't allowed to go to work. You can literally only go to work if you're a doctor, you work in a supermarket, drive a bus, something like that. Everybody else has been told to stay the fuck at home. Well, I could stream from mobile internet, Gretchen, but that would run my data. And then I'm not meant to be outside, am I? So if I'm outside, it's like saying to the police, look, I'm breaking quarantine. Oh, yeah, sorry, Dwarven Mine. Yeah, you missed it. It wasn't as funny as yesterday's when we really angered some magapedes, or whatever they're called. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do a lot of videos when it comes with the modern ionization chamber that has all the electronics in it to, measure really low to quite high radiation levels. Because I really like the idea that, I've got something that I can put next to a bit of pitch blend and it will tell you actually how energetic the pitch blend is. And whatever else. You can always watch it back now, Gretchen, yesterday's stream. Although the problem is obviously the people that ended up insulting other people and ended up getting blocked by the mods or whatever. You're not going to see their comments because I think YouTube then doesn't re-show them, which is kind of a shame. Like the guy who was saying, like, I'm some sort of libtard who hates America because how dare I have said Trump said something stupid. He didn't say that. Everybody in the comments like, you can watch the video of him saying it. No, he didn't. It was fake news, fake news. At the moment, Neo, I think he's just not selling anything for a while. I've been chatting with him on email, but with quite a lot of eBay sellers, with different tax years or whatever they've got in stock, they're waiting a while. I did a video on it, Floof, and that was the same day the CBRM police came round, so I thought I'd better put it on private for a while. Even though everything I did in the video was legal, I thought I'll hold off on it for now. There's other channels that have done the videos on it. But yeah, that's the problem with lower price range Geiger counters is you can overload the GM tubes. Yeah, I have been going out to exercise Sonic Step. I said that's pretty much it, because you're not allowed out for other things. You're allowed out to do essential shopping, or like going to the doctors or whatever, or exercise. That's it. Unless you're an essential worker, you're not meant to be out for those reasons. You can get fined or whatever if you're caught out and about, just doing random shit. And lots of people are using the exercise excuse to just go out and do random shit and then, making it worse for everybody else. No, what's that? Drones disguised as birds, John? He's not even as old and as confused as Joe Biden, no, Iron Man. That's a scary thing. The M9A1, again, with lots of old masks, it will depend on the condition, but, I mean, not really. If you want to get a mask of that style, get a Finish M61. But... what do you mean by random exercise? I mean, you can go out and go for a run, go out for a walk, go out for a cycle, but you're not allowed to just go out, sit about in a field and say you're doing exercise. Cool. There's a page in Telebrite I read that's very interesting. I will go off in a minute because I've been on nearly an hour and a half. That was really, really interesting. That was all about, what was it? An actual CDV calibration shop that showed you all the things they use, like the massive lead kind of pig-lined, almost like radiotherapy machines for calibrating the ion chambers, and then the little ones on a bench they used for calibrating the CDV 715. Right, so Ready to Snap was a fucking weirdo. I mean, looking at his picture, it looks like it's some sort of kind of Nazi moon rune, so yeah, whatever, good riddance, but yeah, you should go out and break quality and spread an infectious virus because it's not real and it's spread by the 5G vaccines by Bill Gates. It's kind of a shame that people actually think that. Oh yeah, I forgot. You can do that, yeah, but you can care for old people. Yeah, weirdly, my CDVs had a sticker on for something that was completely not related to civil defense, like where it was just being reused for something. Fair enough. I mean, as long as you're social distancing, that's all right, isn't it? Problem is, I think the people going out and just using it as a social thing and then claiming it's exercise. I'm pretty sure he's being sarcastic, Gretchen, because he didn't say 5G causes coronavirus. He said coronavirus causes 5G. FFS 06. Ooh. Can I buy one for you, Hype? Let's see what they look like, even though I should be saving my money. Is there any info on them? I suppose you can Discord me it, can't you? But anyway, I will go off in a minute, but I'm very interested in these modern Chinese Geiger counters. No, that's all right, Gretchen, because we obviously do get, like you've just seen, a load of actual weirdos on here. Both some that I think are just being idiots, and then ones that, are really, really dangerous for everybody. But I thought the leading cause of 5G was 5G masks. Right, cool. I'll head off now anyway, but... Oh, GMAX said, for the member, sorry, forgot his name, referencing the Polish filters for M17. I have trouble finding in-date ones. Sorry for the delay on my modem crap out. Sorry, I didn't see the original comment, but thank you for clarifying that. I do know the issue is, again, with, like, Czech M10 filters and, like, Polish MP4 filters and all that is, again, cheap filter masks are pretty obsolete, so you're not going to really find filters all that easily that are in good condition in date. Right, but yeah, thank you for the long stream, everybody. It's been quite a good one. I will be on tomorrow. I might try and do one later in the day for the people who wanted to see it. I think YouTube is meant to be doing a feature soon that will tell each channel when the most people are actually on viewing their videos. So it's like saying, this is the best time to upload a video or do a stream. So as soon as that comes on, I'll try doing them in the time period they recommend based on when they think most of the people that watch my videos are actually on. But it is quite nice sometimes doing the streams with less people on. But yeah, right, see you all and have a good day. And I need to look at this thing Hype sent me. So yeah, stay safe, everybody, and stay sane. Right, goodbye.